Welcome to Flipping Out with your host, Paul Lizell, your leader in virtual wholesaling and investing in today's real estate market. Each week, he will be joined by some of the biggest players in the real estate space who will share their experiences, knowledge, insight, and tips for making it big in the industry. And now, here's your host, Paul Lizell.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Flipping Out. This is your host, Paul Lizell. With me today is actually a good friend of mine who I've known for years in the real estate investing business, Dan Zitofsky. How you doing, Dan?
Great, Paul. How you doing? It's great to be on here for all these years.
So happy to have you. I've been meaning to reach out to you to get you on here. And I've been so busy between this COVID time, just like you have as well.
Huh.
But why don't you tell us a little bit about your background? I know you, besides private lending, you've done the fix and flips. You've done owner finance. Tell us a little bit about your background when you first got into investing.
Sure. I've been at it now 29 years, since 1990. I started off with a rental property. I mean, the story goes way back, but I used to flip a lot. I was very transactional. I was flipping many properties. We've done well over 1,000 retail flips, close to 3,000 now transactions. Everything from your little flips to your rentals to your high-end flips, commercial deals, land deals, multifamily deals. But the big part of my story and how we wrote our book, Passive to Prosperous, is exactly what the title says. We went from very transactional business where we were flipping 50 properties a year for about 10 years, netting anywhere from $50,000 to $80,000 on average per property. So you can see we were making multiple seven figures a year, to really a passive income lifestyle. We were working a tremendous amount of hours. We didn't have the life we wanted. We really had to reset. There's a long story behind it, but in a matter of time, I don't want to go through all that. But the long story behind it, that we had to reset and we had to come up with a way to change our lifestyle, to do what we want to do. Like we're sitting here now at the beach house all week, and we're able to work from here. We would have never been able to do that in the past, dealing with contractors and realtors and appraisers and inspectors and properties. And now we're living the passive lifestyle, and that passive lifestyle is based on being the bank, as seller finance note holders and having rental portfolio in emerging markets. So we made that transition, and the only way we could really do that is back in 2008-9, is we decided at that point we almost lost everything due to hard money lenders and banks controlling our business like they are today in 2020, like they did in 2008-9. We had to make that transition back in that 2009 to say, at this point forward, we will never base our business around hard money lenders or banks ever again. We want to control our own business, so we put our head down and learned how to raise private money. Since then, we've raised over $30 million in new money and using it in over $200 million of velocity.
Wow, that's tremendous. That's a great change, a switch too. It's like, I still do the fix and flips. I'm not doing nearly as many as I used to because, like you said, it is a hassle dealing with the contractors and the planning and the townships. The townships continue to get worse and worse as far as permits and what they require, right? Building codes and all that. So switching to this passive side just makes so much sense to do.
I equate it to owning a franchise. I said, you don't really own a business. You bought a job.
Yes.
Like I'm involved. Maybe I do 2, maybe 3 fix and flips a year now, just because they don't meet any other parameters and they just fit the box for a fix and flip. But even though they fit the box, I just finished one in Charlotte, North Carolina, and it just becomes a night. Every single one becomes so stressful and such a nightmare. There's not one thing I enjoy about it anymore.
Yeah.
Other than you make the money, but it's transactional, so it doesn't do anything for you. I mean,
yes.
I know it sounds it might sound, I don't know. I just say it to impress upon you, not to impress you. That it sounds kind of pompous, but the money, the 40, 50, 60,000 doesn't mean anything for us right now.
Yeah.
To me, if I could generate $300 a month, it means I get a lot more excited, and I build generational wealth for my family doing that. That's a lot more exciting to me than a fix and flip. There's nothing at all. There's not one aspect. I don't care about people saying, oh, I make the house look pretty. I do the same thing with rentals. I do the same thing on my seller finance houses with investors. It's just words. It doesn't move the needle for me at all anymore. So I'm just not a fix and flipper. Even though I do a couple a year, I'm not a fix and flipper at all anymore.
I totally understand where you come from. I mean, it's the stress. And like you said, it's transactional, right? So you got this whole stressful transition going from purchase to renovation to resale to appraisals going through and make sure all the numbers all match up. And then it's done. You got your payday, but then you have to work on the next one, right? And then the stress becomes, again, you have to find your next one if you're doing it that way, right? Whereas you're talking about mailbox money, or what used to be termed mailbox money. Now it's like ACH digital money right in your account, automatically, from whether it's a seller finance notes that you hold, or whether it's rental income where it's just coming in without you having to do anything. That's so much less stressful. And that is a very, very important thing. And as we get older, I know you and I are young enough guys, we still have young kids, right? But
Yes.
as you get older, you want less stress. You want everything to be a little bit more simple. You don't have to manage all this stuff, right?
Right. I mean, you have different, your vision in life is a lot different. I go over this a lot with my students as well. We talk about vision. We talk about mindset. We talk about roadblocks. We talk about, a higher level, higher being. What are you? What are you doing? Why you're doing this? We dig really deep on why people are doing what they do.
Right.
And generally, for the most part, most of the people I work with that I mentor will tell me the reason they're doing this is because they want time with their family. They want their spouse to retire. They want to pay for their kids' college education. They don't want to worry about, family and generations, their kids and their grandkids one day. But everything they're doing, their actions, so their vision's this way and their actions go this way, right? They're so in left field on their actions. Everything they're doing is transactional. And that's the problem is, at a certain age, we get to the point where, I've driven, and I don't say it's once again to impress anyone. I say to impress upon you. I've driven the nicest cars that people can imagine. You don't see me posting them on Facebook, and we still have some because we own them outright. I have a watch collection that most people choke on. We don't talk about. That was important to me back in the day, but it really, if you broke down my vision, you would realize it's not really important to me. It was important to my ego. That's all it was. It made me feel successful, and that's all part of my story in my book. And when I speak at events, that's what I speak about. And generally, when we do it, we have the audience crying, and my wife's there. I start crying, looking at her because I thought I was being successful. I thought I was being that person I said I would never become when I was growing up. And I became totally opposite of what I thought I was. And I didn't realize it because I thought, hey, give my wife the cars, the jewelry, the boats, everything she wanted, the vacations. Vacations I still love. I'm not giving them up.
Right, totally.
There's some things I won't give up, right? Because that's my experiences, my time I want. But, the cars, the boat, the watches, which I still have because I have them already, but I don't go out spending. Like I would spend easily $50,000, $60,000 a year just on watches every year for no reason because I wanted to show off. I'd buy cars that after 3 months, I would lose the giggle and I'd get a new one and lose $20,000 just because I wanted to show off because it built my ego. And I'm humble enough to say that now, right? I didn't realize that back in the day. And when my wife approached me and she said, you're not the best husband, you're not the best father, and it crushed me. It really crushed me down to my knees because I thought I was. And really, it was not I was just feeding my own ego. And unfortunately, that's what I see most people doing, like I look at it like this. There's a great picture out there. I see a picture where they say, a great investor, and they show them driving like, I don't know, a Honda Accord or something. And they say some guru posting a check on Facebook driving a Ferrari out there. And, I understand that because I've been there. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. Back in the day, I based my business a lot on hard money lenders and banks. And I kind of equate that to having a franchise where you don't actually have a business, you own a job, right? So hard money lenders or banks were controlling what you did with your business. And I just couldn't build my business that way. I just wasn't comfortable. I wasn't comfortable fix and flipping, being transactional. That just didn't work for my lifestyle. What I wanted in my vision was, I always said the reason I was in this business because I didn't want to work corporate America anymore. I didn't want to be stuck at a job. I didn't want to have a boss telling me what to do. And it just wasn't for me. I wanted to build a lifestyle. And my lifestyle was my lifestyle by my vision, right? My lifestyle by design. And my lifestyle by design does exactly what I'm doing now, sitting at a beach house with my kids. Going out on the boat, going out on the sand, them working their beach jobs, me hanging out with my wife, drinking coffee when we want, waking up when we want, going to the gym when I want, going for walks. That was my lifestyle. And everything I was doing did not do anything for that lifestyle. What it did is afforded me to buy the nicest cars in the world, the nicest watches and the nicest boats, and it really wasn't my vision. And so once I learned how to raise private money in 2008 and 9, basically when hard money lenders back then and banks stopped lending, I almost lost my business at that point. I had no way to get money. I had a couple lenders out there, 2, 3. They were giving me $50,000, that kind of money, maybe $100,000 at the time. Really not enough to move my needle. And I couldn't go out and buy non-performing notes back then. I couldn't buy REOs from the banks. I couldn't pick up big pools of assets with hard money. It just doesn't work. One is they won't allow it. Two is timeline doesn't work. Economically, it doesn't work. It just, nothing about it works. So the only thing I could really do with hard money lending was either the BRRRR method sometimes, or I could do fix and flipping. But the BRRRR method, the problem with that is banks, if they stop lending like they did now, well, you can't take the hard money lender out of a deal. What do you do? So I sat back in 2009 is where I really got serious. I started up the conversation. I told my wife to say, I said, I will never let my business be based on a hard money lender or bank ever again. Now, if I do use banks, I don't use them all the time, but if a bank stopped lending like they do now, it's okay. I'm generally raising private money at 6, 7, 8% in that range, interest only, no points for 3 to 5 years. Some of my lenders, it's a year, but most of my lenders are in their 30s and 40s. Most of them are self-directed IRA, solo 401ks, health savings accounts, Coverdell's. They don't need the money every year. They're not, a lot of them aren't even living off it. So I'm using their money sometimes 20, 30 years before they can touch it at 59 and a half. So the only ones that touch it earlier are Coverdell kids that are going to college eventually. So I really focused on that point. And I built myself, you build a business, you have to really take control of your business, right? And I decided at that point, I'm going to do anything in my power to raise private money. And I put my head down and I stopped doing what everybody else is doing now, slapping crap against the wall and hoping it sticks. I built an online presentation. A private money presentation. I built my bio out. I built brochures. If I was in my office right now, I'd show you some of my brochures I have. I wrote my book. I was very intentional about who I partnered with, right? I didn't hang out in the same murky waters that everybody else hangs out with at these RIA groups and these meetups and those kind of groups. I started really laser focusing on who do I want my partner to be? And I look at them as partners on deals. Who do I want to, hang out with? Who do I want to have a beer with, whether I make money for them or not? That's really, I get laser focused on who I wanted to be around, right? So when I speak at events, and I speak at a lot of events, real estate type events, wealth advisory events, family office events, IRA events, some of them I raise money at, some of them I don't on purpose. Like you'll never see me raise money at a RIA event. I just don't. People come up to me all the time and ask how they can fund my deals. I'm probably not the best bet for you. There's a lot of other people here that could use your money because they want, 15, 20%.
High rates. Yeah.
They're not going to be in this for 6 to 8%. They're active investors. They're not passive. I deal more with the business owners, your professionals. That's really who I deal with. And like I said, since 2009, I've raised $30 million of new money and used it in $200 million of velocity. And it's not saying to impress anybody, but I haven't done it with a lot of people. I only have 42 active investors on my list. There's people with a lot more, and I know people with a lot more than that. I only have 42. I don't have a lot. So it doesn't take a lot. And most people, and I'm very careful to tell people how much I've raised because people think you have to raise that much. Most people don't. Most people can get away with, $500,000-$600,000 in their set for a business, right? They're fix and flippers. They can only do 2, 3 houses at a time.
Right.
How much are they into a fix and flip for? Maybe 150, 200,000. As that first one is selling, third one's coming in, fourth one's coming in. So they got to figure out what they want in their life. And here's the problem I see with most investors. It's no barrier to entry into this business. They get in real easy. They go to an event. There's some people lending money around there. There's hard money lenders. They never learn how to build a business because they go the easy route, right? Let's go to hard money lenders. Let's go to banks. And if they fund their deals, great. But once again, this pandemic that just happened, banks and hard money lenders, most hard money lenders pulled out. And the ones that didn't pull out changed their terms. They make you put a lot more money down. They make you have 12 months reserves in the bank. It's good for them. They should protect themselves. And I'm saying that's the best thing in the world for them. They only worry about their business. They're not worried about your business. So I always tell people, this is my program, right? When I bring you in to fund my deal, you're coming into my program. I'm doing you the favor. You're not doing me the favor. And I really believe that because I know what I could provide them. I know that I'm giving them better than average returns. I know that I'm going into a deal very conservatively. Now, I don't guarantee anything because everything's a risk, right? And anyone tells you it's not a risk, they're lying to you. You better run, not walk.
Totally.
I also have SEC attorney on our team. So I don't just go out there. You'll never see me post on social media, hey, he wants to fund my deals because it's illegal. The SEC, that first of all, you look like you're hard up for money. And you look like you don't know what you're doing. And most real investors, lenders, are not going to be on social media funding your deals. So if you ever want to raise big money, you got to be intentional about raising big money. And if you raise private money, just think about all you can do, right? When banks don't lend, even 6, 7, 8, even 8% interest. You can hold those loans for a while.
Sure.
Pay your investors, pay your lenders back without a problem, and keep those loans until the banks start lending again. You're not stuck by a hard money lender or a non-QM bank telling you they're not going to lend on a burn method. So that's why, and that works towards my passive income.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge. People don't understand when you get into the hard money lending, when you're talking about 12, 15% rate, 3 to 5 points, what that does to your profitability of deal. And like, it turns something which maybe could have been profitable, made 30 grand. Now you're down to 15, 17 grand, right? When you talk about those. And also when you get back to your rates that you pay, 6 to 8%. Be honest, most people in the stock market, that is their going rate, 6 to 8%. When you talk about fees and all these charges that they have to pay, they're really getting 6 to 8%. And what's more secure? Something with real estate backing it, or a stock, which can go down to zero. So it does give you a good sales pitch and everything as well. I mean, it's just 6 to 8% all day long you could do.
Yeah, because if you're looking at what the commissions are on your financial advisor, and you're right about stocks. And people don't even look at, like, you got to get a little smarter about this, right? If you're going to be we're in finance, right? You got to be a little smarter. You got to understand the difference between an active and a passive investment. Right. Just tax saving. What is the benefit in tax savings? On a stock, you don't depreciate anything. Yep. You have your pure capital gains on a stock. It's pure capital gains. All right. In real estate, you write off. You have debt reduction. You have depreciation. You have the possibility of appreciation. You have the possibility of rent increases. You have cash flow. There's so many. I mean, where can you put down $20,000, $30,000 on a property if you don't make $1 for 20 years, 30 years, let's say? A tenant pays down your property. You got all that depreciation, and now you have $100,000 property. If you did nothing else, if you didn't make $1, you have $100,000. That doesn't happen in the stock market.
Not at all.
Okay. So, and financial advisors, I gotta be careful because I want to keep it nice. One of my best friends is a CFP, and he can't invest his way out of a paper bag. Because they go and take a test doesn't mean they understand the market, right? They don't even understand how self-directed IRAs work. They don't understand how solo 401ks work. They don't even know what a covered account is. They're trying to sell people 529 plans. It's just, it doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't make sense. And when they tell you can invest in real estate, I have to do a ton of conference calls with them. I said, great. Mr. and Mrs. Smith is buying 123 Main Street. I need you to wire funds to the attorney today. Oh, no, we can't do that. So they're misleading. And here's the thing. I used to ask people all the time. I used to say, what are you investing in? And I would get people that give me the, Ameritrade, Charles Schwab, Merrill Lynch, whatever it is. I'd say, okay, that's who's holding your money. It's like a bank account. What are you investing in? And now there's a funnel, right? Everybody knew that. Then it would come down a little bit, and they would say, well, I'm in a mutual fund. Okay, what's in that mutual fund? Now the funnel's getting smaller and smaller. People's knowledge, right? Most of them at this point didn't know what was in the mutual fund. The couple that understood that was in the mutual fund, I started asking them, what was the dividends? What was the P&E on it? Okay. Almost nobody knew that. I still remember that all these times I've questioned people. Nobody knew that. Then I got to some people. I said, you know what? This is what it is. Let's pull your statement. We looked at the statement. I said, what is the commission you're paying? Not one person has ever told me. Not one person. I've asked this thousands of times because I used to speak all over the place. And I'd ask this question. Not one person has ever known the commission they pay their financial advisor. Not one. And when you start looking at that, right, and you start seeing that the cost of living increases, I'm going to be conservative and say 3% a year. It's more than 3%.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Financial advisor commissions generally are at low end 1.5% to 3%. So you got to make anywhere from 4.5% to 6% just to break even. And then you got to pay capital gains tax, high end, short-term capital gains tax on stocks that you buy and sell, so you're a trader. You don't get any depreciation on it. You don't create any wealth. You don't pay off. You don't own Apple. You own a piece of Apple if you buy it. You own a piece of Microsoft if you buy it. You don't own the property. You can't turn around and do what you want with it. You can't sell or finance it. You can't create passive income with it. There's nothing you do with it. You can live off dividends. What are dividends? I mean, people are happy as all heck getting 2% dividends, 3% dividends. They're going crazy with 2 or 3% dividends, and you get taxed on it. I just don't. What kills me is that people don't take the time to learn finances. They'll spend more time learning about a car or a family vacation. They'll spend months planning the Disney trip. Oh, I got 6 months in advance. I got to call up because I got to get the Chef Mickey's because my kid wants to see Chef Mickey's for breakfast, but they'll spend no time learning financial literacy. And that's really what it is. Like, what is the bottom line here is, what is your goal? What is your vision? And if your vision is, hey, I just want to buy myself a beautiful Ferrari, and hey, go out and flip. There's nothing wrong. And I'm going to say there's nothing wrong with that, but is that your vision? Because I did it and it wasn't my vision, right? So what is your vision? Why are you doing it? I was doing all this business because nothing in my vision said I wanted to own a Ferrari. Nothing in my vision said I wanted to own a Bentley. Nothing said I wanted to own a Lamborghini. Nothing ever said that, okay? Everything said I wanted to spend time. I wanted to wake up at the beach. I wanted to go out on the boat in the morning. I wanted to go to the sand in the afternoon. I wanted to sit there with my wife and watch the sunset and go to dinner. That wasn't my vision. I could not do that doing what I did. And that's why even now, right, I'm very careful. Like, well, I'll spend a couple hours, once or twice a week just doing these interviews and these podcasts. And the rest of the time, no matter how much money I can make with students, I just don't do them. I cut out who I work with because it's my vision is not to make money with students. My vision is to live my life by design. And I still work with students. I still work with mentors. But I think before we got on a call, we had a conversation about this, that I do it a little differently than I did in the past, right? So you kind of evolve and you realize that I can make a lot of money just coaching, right? As you can, right? But we're very intentional on who we work with and who we mentor, because for us, there's a lot of people out there, it's just for the money. For us, it's not about the money. I know for me, it's 100% not. And I know for you, it's 100% not.
It's not, we're not transactionally based. And like you said, we're looking to live a lifestyle. And really what we're looking to buy, let's say we don't need all these fancy cars, all these fancy things. We're looking to buy time. Right. Time is what we want. Time to be able to do what we want, right? Spend it with who we want, our family, our kids, while we can. Like for me, every year when I look at my numbers, every single year, I coach travel baseball, right? So Q2 for me sucks every year because I spend so much time, so much of the day coaching, doing lineups, traveling here to there. So I lose a lot of my day. So I lose it drops literally 50% compared to the other quarters. It's unbelievable, but that's my lifestyle. I want it to be that way. So it's intentional, and I'll never regret, never look back and say, well, I had the opportunity to do it, but I didn't do it. I'm taking advantage of that, coaching the kids in basketball, football, travel baseball, all these different things.
Like me, I was I'm the same way. I went through years of coaching travel baseball, state championship baseball, football. I coached all these years. My daughter's softball, and now I'm back to coaching. Finally, I'm getting back. Hopefully we can get at it. Now I'm finally coaching high school football back at it again. So you don't do it for money, right? You don't make any money coaching it. I'm not the head coach. The head coach only gets paid a couple $1,000s a year. Assistants get paid nothing, and it costs me money, right? You actually have to spend money and time, but it's what that's in my vision. I love doing. I love coaching. I love mentoring. I mean, guys like us, we love mentoring at all levels, right? I love this industry, right? This industry has afforded me an amazing life over the last 29 years. Mm-hmm. A lot of ups and downs, but it's afforded me the life that I can not only live the rest of my life now the way I want, but I can actually teach my kids to do the same thing and help them build a legacy for my kids and my grandkids, and help other people do the same, but they got to want to help themselves, right? And that's I don't ever believe in selling somebody in coaching or mentorship, because that's not who I want to. Years ago, that's who I used to try to sell. I had to try to sell coaching. I'm not selling coaching anymore, right? I don't sell people on funding my deals anymore. They have to sell me on why they should work with me. And some people might say that's pompous, and I don't see it as pompous. I have a mentor as well, and I see it as, valuing the deal, right? If I don't value myself, why would you value me?
Totally. Yeah, no, absolutely.
This is how I am, And I find out that, a lot of people say we shouldn't pay for mentorship. You're doing such a disservice to yourself, right? Because your mindset is so screwed up. It's all mindset, right? It's a scarcity mindset. It's limited beliefs. And we go through our mentorship. I teach a lot of people that mindset, beliefs, vision, but it's such a screwed up mindset and such scarcity, right?
Yes.
Here's the thing. If I don't work with people who value themselves, I'm just doing them a disservice, right? Because if they don't invest in themselves, they're not going to take edge. It's just, they will never take action. I can tell you, I've coached them. I can't even tell you how many people I've coached for free. I have a 0% success rate. I just do. And I've probably hurt people that could be very successful. But what happens is if they don't invest in themselves, they don't see value in it, they won't do anything.
Yeah, they're not doing it with intention, right? They're not going in it. Like you said, they don't value it. It's like, oh, no biggie. It didn't work out. I didn't put anything into it. So,
and even our group, right? I told you we're changing back to our group coaching like we did years ago. Mm-hmm. If I was to bring people into my group that were, one, newbies, two is they didn't invest in themselves to be in that group, how would anyone get value in that group? That group would be a bunch of freebies, and nobody would care. Nobody would do anything. Do you ever play? You ever play fantasy football?
Oh yeah.
All right. So you're in a fantasy football league where they don't even pay. It's free. Like they did at work. It's free.
Nobody cares.
And then once somebody's out, you'll have a guy in the office get around and find the other one that doesn't know what they're doing. Take Tom Brady for like a kicker.
Yeah.
They just don't care. It's the same exact thing. It's funny, but it's the same exact thing. It's the free fantasy football league that nobody does real trades. Nobody cares because there's no value to it. If you have somebody put in $20, just $20 in a fantasy league, they'll study it. They'll spend time. They'll make lineups. They'll do what it takes because they're invested in it. So it sounds small, but it's exactly the same thing that people don't understand.
Yep. No, it's the absolute 100% truth. And you see it all the time. Look, hey, I still buy education. If there's a program out there, I'm like, wow, I really want to learn, do more with that. I'll buy that program. I'm sure you've probably done it over the years as well. I'm constantly paying for education. Because you never stop learning, right? You're always looking to learn, and there's different things like you want to get into, right? And like, oh, maybe I'll kick it for down the road. If you do that, you're screwed. You'll never end up doing it, right? You got to be able to do it at that point. If you're going to put the money down, then you're going to be dedicated to do it at that point. You'll be fine. If you're thinking I'm going to do it down the road, it doesn't work. I've seen that too with people, students of ours that were trying to get in, and they're keeping an eye here, and then they're keeping a short eye here on what we're teaching them, and it doesn't work out. They have to stay laser focused.
One of my mentors, I have a mentor, Greg Reed out there, and he talks about the disease of the one size. Yeah, I'll do this once my kids go to school. I'll do this once I have enough money. I'll do this once I have time for my job. I'll do this once my wife retires. And he's like, draw that line in the sand and step over the line and say, when is it my time? Like, this is my time. Like, when is your time? You don't know what you have. Like, jump in, find somebody you like. Like, geez, I started this 29 years ago. I wish that I had the ability to have a Paul Lizell out there teaching me what you do. Like you do exactly what I want to do, and I do, right? Mm-hmm. I like passive income. You teach that, right? Right. We're in the note game. We're both in the note game. We're in passive. If I had a Paul Lizell back 29 years ago, I would have done anything in my power, washed cars, done anything I could do to build up enough money to live in newspapers to make sure that I had enough money to pay you to be in your group. Or if I didn't have enough money, I would bring a tremendous amount of value where I would take no money back on a deal just so I can learn for free from somebody like you. Right. So there's all the ways to do it. The problem is this hey, can I take you to coffee and pick your brain thing is just terrible. I mean, I could eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner and coffee for the next 3 years probably for free if I let everybody pick my brain. And I would just be stealing time from my family. It's just, I'd be a hypocrite because all I have is time. But I also look at it like this. The bottom line is if you think of education as a cost, you're the wrong person.
Yes.
If you think of it anything other than an investment, you're the wrong person because it is an investment. I spend, and you probably do too, I spend over 6 figures a year between my 2 mentors and the events I go to. Not events I speak at, events I go to and pay. So I pay mentors, $35,000 and $30,000 a year. Plus I pay about $5,000 to go to their events, and I'm doing about 6 of those a year, plus this money I spend out there, plus travel. And it's the best money I could spend, better than any car I ever bought, because it takes my business, not just my financial business, but it takes my personal business and my coaching business and my business, my note business to another level, because I'm dealing with people that are on the same page. I like to be the dumbest person in the room. Not about going to a room and showing off and pounding my chest and saying, I've done all these deals. Like, nobody cares in those rooms what you do. Everyone's an expert at their own field, and everybody holds you accountable. And that's where you grow so much. And you become it's the higher level you want to be at. If you're somebody that likes to show off and you have your ego stroked and people tell you how great you are, well, that's not a group for you. You're better off just hanging out the local RIAs or local meetups, real estate investor meetups. They're good to go to once in a while, hang out and talk to people and get to know them. But that's not where you're going to grow. You're going to grow where you're challenged. And every time I have a call with one of my mentors or I have a retreat that I go to, I still get a little stressed out. Like, they're going to hold me accountable to what I said 3 months ago. I do get stressed out. Like, I'm almost like I'm going to the principal's office. Like, I told them last quarter that I was going to do such and such. I was going to lose 25 pounds, or I was going to change. I was going to put systems in place in my business, or I was going to hire an assistant. I didn't do it yet. What do I tell these people? Like that's the kind of events I like. That's the masterminds, and that's the groups I like being part of, you know, for mindset and for business. So I'm in one for mindset, one for business. And that's really how I look at it. And that's what a mentorship should be.
Yeah, creates accountability, and you need accountability. We always need to have goals that we're trying to reach, right? And we need something that push it. If it's not always ourselves, we need something that, and peer pressure is one of the best ways to do it, right?
Oh yeah.
You're going to the meeting and say, you know, I said I was going to do, you know, 500 push-ups a day or 3 days a week. I said I was going to hire a VA to do this or a VA to do that, or hire an assistant or whatever you're trying to do, right? And you don't do any of those things, well, you're going to look like an ass when you're there. So yeah, it's really important that those things are great. And you know what? You get more out of them than you put into them. Right. Usually they push your business up to a level that's more than paying for what you're paying for those things. And you're also building all those relationships with those people. They're tremendous. I love the mastermind groups that I belong to. Yep. Love them. They're great. They're tremendous. You know, I know
it's happening to me. I have one coming up, and we have, because we do the private lending training, mentorship with people. We have people that come to us and they ask us to help us build them list, right? So it just was students at first, but now we have people come in and say, well, I know you built potential private lender list, people that not have lent before, but accredited type investors. Can you build us a list? And it started coming at me like left and right. And I said, you know what? I'm going to put my team on this to really build out lists nationwide for people. And I told them I was going to do this, and the team kind of dropped the ball. So what I did is I went out and got my virtual assistants. I said, you know what? I got to do this. And I would have never done it. I would just said, screw it. Like, I'm not making any money on it. The money came in, it goes right to my team for that time. I wasn't making money on it, but I know I have to go back there. And I told them I was going to do this. So what I did is I got one of my VAs and I said, your job is only to develop a list for the counties and states people want. So people are telling me the states and counties they want. I'm building a list. We sell them the list, and that's it. So at least I'm accomplishing. I would have never done that if it was in a RIA or a meeting.
Yeah, no doubt.
I would have just like, it didn't work. The guys screwed up. The people on my team didn't do it. They dropped the ball. I'm not doing it. Yeah. But the only reason I'm doing it, because I'm not really making money on it. It's the money is going to my team, so they make pretty good money, and I'm paying my assistant now to do the work and my systems, right? So really, I'm doing it because I want to show up there and I want to say I accomplished this.
This goal.
Because you're held to a higher standard, right? So you just mentioned that, and it kind of made me remember this last thing we were doing. But anyway, that's why, back to the whole thing about private money, that's why private money is so important now, because it really, back to the whole vision, I think we got off track a little bit, but back to the whole vision of what your business is, what you're doing. Private money is the only way to do it. It's truly the only way to do it. I don't care what you say. You could talk about the Burr method, but you're still relying on banks. If banks stop lending, you're done. Banks can stop lending for a number of reasons. They don't like the risk factors. They don't like the area. They have too much in their portfolio here, your credit, whatever. You have too much going on. Then you can't deal with residential banks. You got to go commercial. You got to go non-QM. Your tax returns aren't showing enough money. There's a myriad of reasons why you might not be able to do that anymore. But with private money, you control. It's your program. You do what you want. You do what you want. I mean, you protect your investors, but you do what you want. You say, this is my program. I borrowed the money at this terms, these many years, this rate, these type of deals. Are you interested? If they're interested, they fund your deal. If they're not, you don't change what you do. You go on to the next investor. But the problem is people aren't willing to put the work in to learn how to do this the right way. So it causes some issues.
Yeah, it's important to be able to learn how to do it the right way and have the right paperwork set up in place so you don't get yourself or your investors in trouble, right? Because it's easy, like you said, a lot of people don't know. They'll advertise on social media if they need funding for a deal. Next thing you know, you're in trouble with the SEC. You don't want them up your backside. That's
right.
Not fun at all. So it's important to know how to do these things the right way. You teach people how to do these things the right way, right? You have a program which shows people how to do this, and probably with all the correct paperwork and everything to do. So if somebody does want to reach out to you and learn more about that, where can they reach you on? Is there a website or an email?
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll give this away since we're wrapping this up. I'll give it away anyway. They can go to passivewealthacademy.com/42K. So passivewealthacademy.com/42K. And they're going to get my free cheat sheet in there. Okay. And then they can also follow me in my Facebook group, not my personal page, because I'm at that 5,000 friend limit. Yeah. So they can go to Become a Real Estate Investor with Dan Zitofsky.
Okay.
Okay. And, or they can follow me on YouTube. Our YouTube page is Zitofsky Capital Management. Okay. And everything there is free. There's no paid for anything. And if you're interested in learning more about how to raise private money, we could set something up there, and I can provide a link and stuff like that.
That's awesome. I mean, it's so important coming in. People don't realize right now, they think the market's kind of kicking back and things are settling down and going to normal. It's not normal. I know some of the lenders are starting to lend again, like Lima One Capital and Lending Home, some of these. But look, right now, what's driving everything is the payroll protection plan, PPP. People and businesses still have money from that, the unemployment. When this stuff runs out and people run out of money and there's not another PPP payment coming in again, you're going to see in the fall, probably at fall time frame, right? Some real havoc going on, a lot of bankruptcies, a lot of businesses going down. So you don't want to be dictated. Like Wall Street and hedge funds control these lending on these from Lending Home, Lending One, Lima One Capital. So as soon as they shut down, you're off. That's right. Why private lending is so important, to learn how to do what you do, to borrow the money at a better interest rate, right? So you're more profitable, one, and two, so you can control these deals, control and constantly be able to buy, because you want the opportunity to buy when the market starts to take a downturn, right?
Exactly.
Which is inevitably going to do at some point or another. With 40+ million people unemployed, it's going to go down at some point.
Oh, it is. It's unfortunate, but it is. So there's going to be a bloodbath out there, and there's going to be a huge transfer of wealth.
Yes.
And my asset managers have already called us and talked to us and see what we could do as far as, how much we could take down as far in pools. So they're expecting a huge amount of assets coming available beginning 2021. So this is 2009 all over again.
It is.
2012 and 13. I used to hear people say, "I wish it was 2009 again."
Yes.
It's 2009 again. And if you learn how to raise private money in the right way and you stay consistent, you're going to do very well.
Yeah. I mean, I got to say my best year in real estate, most profitable, was 2009, where, I mean, the amount of money I was making on some of these deals, and I was picking up a bunch of bank REOs at the time, wholesale, getting 55K, 50K, 50K, 45, 40. These were wholesale fees on these things in one quarter, right? I mean, it was unbelievable. So that opportunity is going to come again. So you got to be in the right position. If we didn't have private lending, I wouldn't have been able to do that. Luckily, we have private lenders, and it put us in a position to be able to do that and take advantage of that. Now, I wish in retrospect I would have held some of them for a little while longer, but it is what it is. The money is great. And, you're doing other things. You're doing some fix and flips, but no, it's so important. That's why I wanted to have you on around this time, because look, people need to prep now and during the summertime here for what's going to come the fall and in early 2021 right. And leading into next year. Next year is going to be tremendous opportunities, I think, for people to buy in real estate and all kinds of asset classes, I think, right? There's tremendous opportunities. I love cryptos, and I think there's going to be opportunities in cryptos potentially in that market as well. So
there's everything. I have a student that raises money to buy Amazon stores. All right. I have another student that's raising money to invest in businesses and take an equity share. I have another student that raised money to buy old watches. He's buying a certain type of watches. He buys and sells them on eBay. A little harder to protect your investors and lenders on that, but they're still raising private money for that. You can't do that with hard money. No. Banks would be really tough. No banks are going to fund your deal to buy Amazon stores. I don't think. I haven't looked into it, but this is what they're doing. So it's just, you could do a myriad of things with private money. It's your program. You decide what you want it to be for.
And opportunities going to be coming. It's going to be coming in abundance here. Well, Dan, it was awesome talking with you, man. It's always great catching up with you again. We're going to have to catch up. You and I are fairly local. You're Delaware. I'm PA. So
we'll have to do the next one live. You and I.
Yes, we'll do the next one live when we can go meet at a restaurant or something and catch up. And maybe we'll do live in my podcasting studio.
That's what I want to do. It's a deal. When we can do this live. All right, Paul. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Dan. I really appreciate it, man. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Have you ever felt that you hit a ceiling as a real estate investor? Where no matter how much time and money you spend on marketing, you just can't find enough deals to feed the family? You know what I'm talking about. You spend thousands of dollars per month on marketing. Then you have to drive all around town looking at properties, negotiating and talking with home sellers just to have some cancel on you at the very last minute. Do you have a steady stream of phone calls each day pushing you towards closing the amount of properties you want to close on each month? You say that you're going to do more marketing, but now you need to hire someone to handle the dramatic increase in calls. In fact, you may even need to hire someone to go visit the houses and talk with the sellers. Or if you do it yourself, you run the risk of burning out, losing deals, and giving your hard-earned cash away to the ever-rising competition in your area for you to take a second of rest. The majority of people that we have surveyed would tell you that despite the fact that their marketing looks really good, rarely does it bring in predictable leads. What you need to add is a new lead source that fills in a gap and consistently allows you to buy more houses. You don't want to do what I did. I remember having to rely on spending thousands of dollars each month on marketing, spending half my day driving around without even getting a single bite. And when they did, they cancel on me at the last minute. I made decent money, don't get me wrong, but the constant, endless grind became unbearable to the point where I would question, is it even worth it? So what's the good news? The good news is today, things are totally different. I can buy houses anywhere in the USA without leaving the comfort of my own home. Did I mention my net profit on each deal is a lot higher now because my expenses are a lot less? Go to reauctionacademy.com to learn how to buy houses in any market without leaving your home. I will show you real life examples on how I do it. Again, to learn more, visit reauctionacademy.com.
You've been listening to Flipping Out with Paul Lizell, the #1 success platform for virtual wholesalers. Visit our website, thevirtualinvestor.co, for more information about how you can leverage virtual wholesaling to take control of your time, enjoy financial freedom, and live life the way you've always wanted to. Join us again next time for another informative discussion right at your fingertips.